we'll just get right to it. Our first panelist, our first presenter is Harlisa Harlisa from Environmental Defense Fund, Indonesia. Harlisa.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. I am Harlisa, working for EDF Indonesia, and on these occasions I represent my team to present our work on the blue swimming crab fisheries management in Lampung province by integrating science and technology for effective actions. So maybe some of you may ask why blue swimming crab and why in Lampung province. So according to the data from Ministry of Marine and Fisheries, blue swimming crab is the one of main fisheries export in Indonesia. And currently, blue swimming crab is in the 4th positions behind the shrimp, tuna, and octopus. Biologically, the blue swimming crab fisheries is one of highly productive species and fast-growing species. So these species only need like 9 months to reach the length at first maturity. And when they got to spawn, they can reach up to 2 million eggs. And so this is a very high productive species. And why Lampung? Lampung province geographically located in the southern part of Sumatra Island and one of the province under the Fisheries Management Area 712. And according to the data, BSC from Lampung contribute more than 10% to the national fisheries export. And locally, this fishery involve more than 7,000 people along the supply chains and including the women. We have been working in Lampung province several years, and since the beginning, the issues that we have identified for these fisheries, the first one is about the declining of the BSC population because of the overfishing. So currently, the practice exists in Lampung province consists of 2 groups. The local fisher who are typically using boat under 5 gross ton and using gill net. And the other one is fisher who are a migrant fisher. So fisher coming from the other province and caught the BSC in Lampung waters. They have a bigger boat and also using another gear like a trap. Another issue is about the high economic loss because of the inefficient handling processes and also limited infrastructure. So major landing site of the BSC located in the remote area, and they need a lot of time to transfer or to distribute the BSC raw material to the processing company. The other issues is about the habitat degradations because of the destructive fishing. So across the Lampung province, according to the data from Marine and Fisheries Office of Lampung, recorded that the number of destructive fishing, like a trawl and trawl modifications, more than 900 units and still exist until now. So to tackle these issues I mentioned before, the national government and local government supported by several NGOs working together to build or establish the co-management body for sustainable blue swimming crab fisheries management. And one of the most notable success in 2022, the local government just issued regulations on the sustainable blue swimming crab fisheries management. In these regulations cover some main important aspect of fisheries management like co-management body, action plan, stakeholder empowerment, surveillance mechanism, data collection, and also financing scheme. This is just an overview. Our journey during the establishment of a sustainable blue spring crab fisheries initiative. And currently, we are on the stage 4 on the implementation of action plan, as well as adaptation and replicate this program to the other province in Indonesia. One of the highlights that I want to emphasize in my presentation today is about the fisheries monitoring program. So since 2019, we are starting to collect the data, working together with the local community and local university in 5 major landing sites. And before we deploy the enumerator, together with the scientific advisory group, who consists of the researcher from the national government and also from local university, we developed the data collection protocol. During the first year of the data collection, our enumerator collected the data by using paper, and after that, from the paper, they transfer it to the Excel data form and submit it to the government database. To improve the data collection process, we are working with the one of tech company called VeriCatch, one of staff here. And this application is very flexible. We have a lot of opportunity to put the data according to our needs. And in this time, the data that we put on the application is referred to the government data collection protocol. Every year, together with our scientific advisory group, we analyze the data, and this is the data that we have analyzed. So it consists of landing data, operational data, as well as the biological data. And every year, after we analyze the data, our scientists also provide the recommendation for adaptive fisheries management. This is one of the fisheries performance indicators that we use to see how healthy the BSC stock is. To complete the missing pieces of the data that we got from the electronic reporting, we also deploy the SmartPass camera. So basically, these tools utilize the AI. If you want to know more about these tools, you can join to the next session with my college. But one thing that I want to inform that from these tools, we can get the total number of vessel. So this tool can automatically counting the vessel leaving and entering the port. But in the future, we're still working to improve these tools to get better identification or very specific identification, like BSC vessel and non-BSC vessel. So because we know in Lampung there are like 6 types of vessel and 3 of them is BSC vessel. So it's a very high opportunity to know more specifically. At the end, when we know the result of the SmartPass, we will multiply the total effort with the average catch that we got from the electronic reporting, and hopefully we can get a better understanding to the number of total effort and total catch. The other technology that we use to support the fisheries management in Lampung province is a vessel tracker. So we also working with the Navcast company. Yesterday, he presented this more comprehensive, but on these tools, we use it to monitor the fishing activities inside the marine protected area. In this year, the MMF just issued the new regulations about the MPA to protecting the BSC juvenile crab in Lampung waters. You can see that on the right side, the fishing activities inside the MPA, even on the core zone, is still very high. But this is just a first year, and local government still working to establish the management plan inside the NPA, as well as the surveillance mechanism. Another feature, incredible feature with these tools is a SOS button. So when the fisher getting trouble at the sea, they can just press the SOS button and the notification will be coming to the contact person that we have registered before. So from using those three technologies in the future, hopefully we can share this proof of concept more broadly and expecting that these tools can be adapted by government for broader user. And in the meantime, we also improve the outreach and advocacy to the local community. So we expected that the awareness of local community can be increased and their involvement on the fisheries management also can be increased. That's all for me. Thanks for listening and looking forward for more discussions.